most trustless name in news.
Will Ethereum be ready for the user demand and application traffic of the next bull run? Or are we going to experience a clogged blockchain with outrageous transaction fees like in 2021? Will scaling solutions that promise to alleviate the pressure on the ETH main chain are in the middle of development? Will they succeed, or should we be looking outside of the Ethereum bubble for the promise of scaling? Well, find out in about 10 minutes because it's time for Chico Crypto. Many of you know this, but for the rookies of the Chico army, let's go back in history to those high Ethereum transaction fees. It began at the end of 2020. Ethereum fees started to skyrocket, getting above $7 for just one transaction. But 2021 saw fees averaging $7 throughout the year. There were even times that fees got to $25 and beyond, like in May of 2021 when the fees were over 70 buckaroos. Will this happen again in the next couple of years when the market hype returns and demand for the blockchain and DeFi goes through the roof? Well, Ethereum has a so-called solution called Rollups. These were created to handle and process the bulk of transactions. And as of today, there are over 10 different rollups live on the Ethereum mainnet, including the popular ones Arbitrum and Optimism. And these do provide cheaper transactions. To send ETH on Arbitrum, it's just 6 cents compared with 73 cents on the main chain. For a token swap, it's 16 cents on Arbitrum compared with $3.63 on the main chain. Ethereum send transactions are over 91% cheaper on Arbitrum, and token swaps are over 95% cheaper. Maybe rollups will work. Remember, peak transaction costs in 2021 were over $70. A 91% reduction of this cost would be about $2. That isn't good, but it's not going to break people's bank. So will rollups be the savior Ethereum needs, or will fees rise once again and there is nothing rollups can do about it? If you didn't know, back in 2020, Vitalik Buterin decided the future of Ethereum scaling with this post titled "A Rollup-Centric Ethereum Roadmap" that said rollups were the scaling solution, and that once rollups were adopted, Ethereum would grow from 15 transactions per second to 3,000 TPS. So what is the reality of Ethereum's current TPS? Well, checking out the data, we can see max TPS from Ethereum and the rollups. Current max TPS on the Ethereum main chain is 22. The max from a rollup is about 40. If all rollups could max out at 40 per second, and there's 10 of them, that's 400 TPS, plus the 22 from the main chain. Thus, Ethereum max TPS right now is 422. Not bad, but a far cry from the 3,000 estimated by Vitalik in 2020. This makes you wonder, if scaling isn't up to the level they hoped for and predicted, is it possible fees aren't going to be as low as they hoped for and predicted? Because even this year, there has been times fees got ridiculous. In May, we can see there was a transaction fee spike of $4 for a basic Ethereum send transaction. Going to L2 fees on Wayback Machine during this time in May, we can see that a token swap transaction was coming up on $20. Already, outrageous fees were reached in the depths of a bear. Just imagine if market hype was here. Fees could have reached over $100 or even more for a token swap. It's pretty obvious to me right now Ethereum isn't ready to bear the bulk of the bull on its back. But who is ready? Well, from the looks of developer activity and migration, there seems to be a strong contender. And that is Polkadot. Here's the thing, the developers, especially those building scaling solutions for Ethereum, know a lot about the scaling process and outlook of Ethereum. Well, the co-founder of the most popular Ethereum scaling solution, Polygon, has decided to leave the promise of rollup scaling to scale with Polkadot. Anurag Arjun left Polygon in March of this year to work full-time on their own scaling solution for blockchains, AVAIL. Going into AVAIL documentation, we can see they departed from the traditional Ethereum tooling. They say the submission can be done using Polkadot.js, which is a collection of tools and communication with chains based on SUBSTRATE, which is now part of the Polkadot SDK. Very interesting to say the least. But the major reason I believe Polkadot has figured out the right scaling solution is the history behind AVAIL. This isn't very well known, but AVAIL was created within Polygon Labs in 2021. This solution was from Polygon's own research and development department, and through their research, they found that this was the scaling solution that worked. In their research paper, they said, "We study the scalability issue in present blockchain architecture and propose a design which decouples the data hosting, execution, and verification. We recognize that to achieve higher throughput, we not only need to put execution off-chain, but also need to have a scalable data hosting layer that guarantees data availability." My case in point, Polygon's research is fully admitting that the Polkadot design is a way to achieve higher transaction throughput. And guess what? Available is walking hand in hand with Polkadot. Just yesterday, AVAIL and Polkadot's Web3 Foundation had a webinar walking through the design and the world of parachains. So how far is AVAIL along? Well, it's coming very soon. Just a few days ago, AVAIL tweeted, "Today, AVAIL takes another big step towards mainnet. Since launching the Kate testnet in June, 100 validators have stepped up to run comprehensive testing, and we're happy to report the testnet was successful. Time for the next step, the incentivized testnet." You heard that right, incentivized, aka token incentives, aka airdrop. So what are the details? Well, they continue. So what's next? Brace yourselves for the incentivized testnet in the coming weeks. We'll share more, including incentivization models, tokenomics, and key details. Here's an early scoop. AVAIL's incentivized testnet will be permissionless, but limited to 300 validators, with our current validators getting priority spots. Stay tuned for more. They are allowing 200 more validators to join this incentivized testnet and earn validator rewards. I'm sure this is going to fill up quickly now that I have let the cat out of the scaling bag. Although Polygon heavyweights realizing Polkadot is the way to scaling isn't the only example. Other Ethereum first scaling solutions are following this lead. I'm sure you've heard of StarkWare and StarkNet for Ethereum, while they are adapting their tech with SUBSTRATE to realize the full potential. Just a couple weeks ago, the StarkNet Twitter tweeted that Madara was nearing production ready. Diving into Madara's GitHub and checking out the features, we can see that like AVAIL, Madara is built with Polkadot substrate. Bear market builders for scaling are jumping to Polkadot. What do you think this means? Cheers, viewers. I'll see you next time.
The most trustless name